was strange. I was very proud. I didn't know too much from my early years. My father kept me away from a lot of it, and you know, reputation and the stuff that they'd done, you know, in the boxing ring and everything else. But I think a lot of that was because they were very humble, and they were, you know, from an old school family around Newport, and it was just their way. They weren't really people who went out and put it about. They just, you know, went about their business quietly, and yeah, you know, they were very effective in what they did.
Could you tell us a bit more about the family in terms of how many brothers?
Yeah, so there was two sisters, June and Moira. The mother and father was Walter Pearce, who was a boxing the booths back in Shaftesbury Park. You had Moira, my nan, and then, like I said, there was the two girls, June and Moira, and then there was the six boys. No, 7 boys. I do apologise, 7 boys. Yeah, sorry, yeah.
Excellent. So, so the question was, so tell us a bit more about the family.
Yeah, so the family, there was Wally Pearce, the father, who used to fight in the boxing booths back in Shaftesbury Park. You had Moira, my nan. You also had the two girls, June Pearce and Moira. And you had the 7 brothers, who 6 were professional boxers. One was a professional dancer, Simon Pearce. He starred in Cats and Mousetrap, and he went to Italia Conti, one of the most famous schools in London. And out of the boxing brothers, you had Bimbo Pearce, who was Welsh heavyweight champion. Won countless titles at amateur, through the weights from flyweight all the way up to heavyweight. You also had Ray Pearce, who fought Dennis Andrews, who went on to be the 3 times WBC World Light Heavyweight Champion. You also had Gary, who was a fantastic boxer, brilliant talent. He'll tell you that he just didn't train hard enough, but if you look at his the guys he went in with, he actually fought Hans-Hendrik Palm, who was the European welterweight champion. Only ever lost 2 fights out of around 40 professional fights. And Gary actually took him the distance, dropped him, and actually lost by half a point in probably his best performance. So he's a very talented fighter. You also had Ronald, Nigel, who were good pros, and David, you know, who was the superstar of the family, and fought for the Welsh, the British, and European heavyweight title, including being ranked number 7 in the world.
As an uncle, what was David actually like?
Oh, he was amazing. He used to call me Lukey Dookie. And yeah, no, he was just a wonderful person. And, you know, going back to my early days growing up, me and my friend Wesley Strawbridge used to go and visit him. And he was great. I mean, he just had that infectious personality, infectious smile. You know, he did have that, you could see he was hard done by, and he still missed boxing, and he was still devastated that his career ended so, you know, at such a young age. But I was just gobsmacked, you know, what he actually achieved, you know, in an era where, you know, he should have been a cruiserweight, really. And in that heavyweight division was just great. And I was very proud of him, and you know, always looked up to him.
How old were you when it all dawned on you? It really dawned on you, the magnitude of what they achieved?
Well, it dawned on me at his funeral. You know, I was always proud of my uncle. I always knew what he won, but I probably didn't have the, you know, the subject matter, you know, knowledge at that time in terms of boxing and the fights and everything that had gone on. Yeah, probably.
Can I just get a shot of your help just while they're being shot?
So you just go back and take a start from when it dawned on you.
Yeah, so it dawned on me at David's funeral, and it was at Stowe Hill, and there was, you know, a few thousand people there. And I couldn't believe it, you know, the admiration from the city to David. The whole town stopped. It was a town back then, you know, all of the town stopped. And it was a very emotional day, and I was in the Welsh Guards at the time, and I'd come home, and I was devastated, and I felt cheated, you know, really cheated. I felt that, you know, I didn't really get to know my uncle properly, and I had so many questions, and I walked to Newport Library to try and find out, you know, some information, and I walked in and I asked the person there, you know, have you got anything on David Pearce? And they had one image, and that stuck with me back then, and I decided at that point, I'm not going to give up, you know, I'm going to find out stuff about David Bomber Pearce, and I'm going to make sure everybody in the city knows.
So how did the knowledge of your family and what they achieved inspire you in your life?
Well, when I wrote to a few of the boxing magazines, like Boxing Monthly, Boxing News, and Ring Magazine, I was sent a lot of footage, and I was sent, you know, on VHS video cassettes. I was sent magazines. And when I started reading, it just inspired me, like you say. And I was in the army at the time. And when I left, I came out. And David's death is, I had a few years. My best friend died, Wesley Strawbridge. Wesley died, and I did have a bit of a lull. But what it did is him winning that Lonsdale belt, that prestigious belt, it inspired me to go on and become an officer in the RAF. I joined the RAF before then, commissioned, served in Afghanistan. And did various other courses in the military, which I'm proud of. And yeah, he inspired me. And he also inspired me to, deliver the statue for Newport as well as part of the David Bowman Pearce Statue Committee.
Because you started boxing very early, didn't you? You achieved quite a lot yourself, didn't you?
Yeah, well, I started boxing as a youngster. I had a break from boxing then. I then boxed, in the military. And then I had another break from it. And then I had a few fights later then as an amateur. Before deciding, I was too old. But yeah, I've always boxed and I've always kept fit, and I love coaching and I love trying to inspire people, because I just think it's important, and it's important to tell those messages, to those kids or your adversaries. Just, keep going, be determined, because you'll get there in the end.
What do you hope to achieve with the foundation, the David Pearce Foundation?
So my end state, what I hope to achieve is I want to sponsor young sportsmen and sportsmen and sportswomen. I also want to give back to local charities, but I want to give back to charities where that money will make a difference. So I might give a cheque for £500, but I want to go there in 2 weeks and see that difference and show people, look, this is what this statue's done for Newport. It's not just a statue where we're proud of somebody. This statue, it's like a living person again. It's giving back. And it's making people feel proud of themselves, and it's making people take pride in what they do, and just showcasing Newport, and saying, we've got some amazing, talented people from this city, but also, let's put Newport on the map for positive reasons. And I believe in Newport. I'm a proud Newportian, and yeah, I want to help people.
So, what do you think the statue means for Newport?
It means everything. I mean, it means everything to me and the statue committee for what we've achieved. It means so much to the family. And it's just the amount of people that have stopped me in the street or call me up or send me messages or emails. I mean, there's people come from all over the country, from Carlisle, Middlesbrough, Yorkshire. There's a couple of guys come down from London. We've had somebody travel from Canada. We've had the Bermuda, somebody from Bermuda, the Royal Bermuda Regiment, call me. It's just, honestly, it's fantastic, and it means everything to the city.
Tell us a little bit about the journey that it's taken you to the unveiling, to getting the statue up and running. You had to fundraise a lot of money.
Yeah, so, I mean, I went to the council. I had to convince the council that this memorial, which it was originally, was going to be, sufficient, and I actually could deliver something that the city could be proud of. There was obviously financial implications. I said I would take that all on through Collingbourne Henna Law, Andrew Collingbourne and Nathan Henna. They then signed that off. We then formed a committee, which was Rob Sandris, Kevin Whitehead, Callum Hiscott, Johan Berengi, Stan Berry, myself, and Andrew Collingbourne. And then we said, right, what can we do? And the first thing we did was we did a pub crawl with buckets and raised £1,000. And then we went on to concerts, boxing events. We went to football matches. We went to virtual race nights. We did a Just Giving page. Somebody ran the marathon for us. So you name it, we did it. But we were very determined. We used those stories as feel-good stories, and I hope we promoted Newport along the way. And I hope they're very proud of us now, because we've got a statue which is for them. And as David said, I did it for Newport.